Hello friends, welcome to my channel. I'm Tanya Rose Jacob. In this video, let's discuss about the Corynebacterium diphtheria, its virulence factors, pathogenicity and clinical manifestations. Corynebacterium diphtheria, the name means the corony means club, diphtheria means leather. These are the club-looking bacteria, gram-positive, aerobic that require oxygen to grow, and non-sporing, and it causes diphtheria, non-motile rod, it's non-capsulated, and fastidious bacteria, that is it's require enriched media. And it's arranged like Chinese letters or cuneiform arrangement. You can see here, those arrangements are like Chinese letter arrangement. It's because the snapping type of cell division it has. The bacterial cell divide horizontally and the daughter cell lie at acute angle to each other. As the daughter cell lie at acute angle to each other, it appear as V or L shaped in the smear. And the other characteristic feature of those bacteria is these have the metachromatic granule as well as the polar, also known as polar body or Babe Ernest bodies or Voltin granules, and these are present at the end or poles of the bacilli, so that it is irregularly stained pleomorphic rod because it is stained, the granules are stained strongly than other part of the bacilli, so it is irregularly stained polymorphic rod. And the metachromatic granule are possessed by not only this diphtheria but also Corynebacterium cirrhosis and Gardnerella vaginalis. Diphtheria toxin is the primary virulent factor of the Corynebacterium diphtheria. It has two fragments, fragment A and B, which is joined to each other by the disulfide bond. Fragment A is the active fragment and B is the binding fragment, by which it is with the help of B fragment it is get attached to the host. And the DT then encurved by the cell membrane which invaginate to form a sac on the inner side. See here. And then the sac then separate from the actual cell membrane forming a vesicle called endosome. Within the host cell, the cytoplasm medium inside the cell become more and more acidic. As a result of this, the disulfide bond get weakened and which will lead to the separating of the two subunit get separated, and A subunit diffuses through the endosome into the cytoplasm and the B subunit get undergo exocytosis, and the A subunit then go to the ribosome, and A subunit has ADP and it attached to the elongation factor of the ribosome, and this process is called EF2 ADP ribosylation, which leads to the complete deactivation of EF2, which will stop the protein synthesis and cause the cell death. Now let's see which are the factors regulating the toxin production. The first one is phage coded. We know the DT is coded by the bacteriophage called beta coronaphage, which carry the tox gene. As long as the phage are present inside the bacilli, the C. diphtheria remain toxigenic. And the second one is iron concentration. The toxin production depend on the optimum concentration of iron. If the iron is present in the higher level, it will inhibit the toxin synthesis. And the third factor which regulating the toxin production is DT repressor gene. Pathogenicity and clinical manifestation. The bacilli are non-invasive and hence it will be present only at the local site. If it is causing pharyngeal diphtheria, it will be present on the pharynx and it will secrete the toxin from there, which will spread to the bloodstream to various organs. Since it secretes the toxin into the bloodstream, it causes the toxemia but not the bacteremia. And the clinical manifestations, the first one is respiratory diphtheria or focil diphtheria or pharyngeal diphtheria. It is characterized by the necrosis of the epithelium, exudate formation, mucosal ulcers, and it is lined by the pseudomembrane coat. You can see here. And This pseudomembrane coat is composed of an inner band of fibrin surrounded by neutrophils, RBC, and bacteria. It is adherent to the mucosal base and it bleed on the removal. Whereas for the true membrane, which can be separated very easily, and you can see the pseudomembrane here. In severe cases, this pseudomembrane coat can extend to the larynx and bronchial airways, thus cause the airway obstruction which leads to asphyxia. Appearance. The other feature of this pharyngeal diphtheria is the bull-neck appearance. You can see here. It is characterized by the massive tonsillar swelling and the neck edema. Neck edema you can see here. And the next manifestation, the second clinical manifestation is the cutaneous diphtheria. It is not toxin mediated and it is present as the punched out ulcerative lesions. You can see the lesions over here, and it is most commonly occurring in the lower extremities. Here you can see the diphtheria skin lesion on the leg, and it is that ulcerative lesion with necrosis you can see here. And the first one of the systemic complication is the CNS manifestation, which will lead to the nerve demyelination. Nerve demyelination is nothing but the myelin sheath covering the axon get damaged. It get destroyed and lead to the polyneuropathy, which will affect the oculomotor nerve, which cause the oculomotor nerve palsy. Muscles that move to the eye are impaired as a result of this, which will result in the double vision diplopia, and the person will be unable to move the eyes. And the next one is myocarditis. It is associated with arrhythmias and dilated cardiomyopathy. And the other systemic complication is the acute tubular necrosis, which will lead to the destruction to the renal tubules, which leads to the oliguria, that is decreased urine production. And the other complications are pneumonia, encephalitis, cerebral infarction, and the pulmonary embolism. It's all about this video. If you like my video, please don't forget to subscribe my channel for more videos. Thank you for watching.